What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make one of these cool pass-through fidgets that are super satisfying. And I know I already made a tutorial like this in the past, but I recently created this mouse pad, and basically what it does is it's going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to create a pass-through fidget, and it's super helpful for beginners or anyone. It honestly kind of just looks like a sick mouse pad. So in this video, I'm going to be going through these steps and trying to explain it. So if you're coming from the mouse pad, I added a QR code to it so that you can easily scan it and access this video if you're confused. But we're going to be going through this step by step. So obviously you have to create your document. We're going to name this Passthrough Tutorial. And it's going to take us to our part studio. So our part studio is where our main everything is going to be created. So the first step, it says to sketch and select the top plane. So we're going to do that. So let's go sketch and select the top plane. Now I'm just going to hide these two so it's a little bit easier for you guys to follow. And okay, boom. Now step 2 says you want to use these tools to create this shape. So there's some dimensions on it. It says the middle should be 1 inch, outside 2.5 inches, and then each one of these lines are 30 degrees separated. So let's make that really quick. So using the C command or circle on the keyboard, you can just drag it out 1 inch. Now it says 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches. And now we want to add all of these lines. And it says we can use the midpoint line tool to create this all. So it says to go like this, 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 and then we're going to dimension these to be 30, dimension this to be 30, and we're going to mirror that, mirror, bang, bang. Okay, perfect. Now, the next step it says to is using the Q command on your keyboard, turn all of these lines into construction lines. So let's highlight, and using the Q command on our keyboard, we can turn those into construction lines. Oh, whoops. I don't know why that didn't work. Construction lines. Perfect. Now we are ready for step 3. Now step 3 says to make this shape and mirror it all the way around. So let's do that now. So let's make that shape. Let's go. Now this part, you kind of just eyeball it. 1, 2, 3. And let's dimension this little spot to intersect with that. Perfect. Now we can just adjust this shape. Now you can make this however you want. I like to first mirror this one and set these two lines to be parallel, but you don't have to do that. You can mess around with this, change it as you desire, but let's say that that looks good. Yeah, that looks very similar to what we have in the picture. And then it also says to draw a circle on the outside. So let's draw a regular circle. Okay, perfect. It doesn't matter how big that outside circle is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mirror this to create the shape on the mouse pad. So mirror, 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 mirror. Okay, don't worry about this. Sometimes it's just oversimplified or over constraint, too many constraints, so you can just delete the constraints if you need. And then mirror this line, bang, bang. Oh, perfect. All right, now we have the shape and we have this outside circle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to step 4, which step 4 says to do a surface extrude of 5 inches. So let's do that. So using the Shift E command on our keyboard, we can get into this extrude tool. And we're going to choose surface, and we're going to choose this outside face, and we're going to make it 5 inches. Now we can click on check, and we can move on to step 5, which step 5 is going to be to add a helix and set it to be 0.75 rotations. So let's do that now. So helix, click on this and set it to be 0.75 rotations. Now all of these numbers can be adjusted because this is a module design. You can change it as you want, but these are just going to be the settings from the tutorial. Okay, now we are on to step 6, which says to sweep. So all we're going to do is we're going to click on sweep tool, click on our face in here, and we're going to choose our sweep path, which we just created. And now we are good to go. We click on, oh wait, whoops. We actually want to click on this outside face, my bad. Now we're good to go. Okay, perfect. Now we can hide this extra stuff. And you see that it is exactly how it looks in the picture. Now moving on to step 7, which is to create a sketch in any shape. Now basically what this step does is it allows you to turn this basic boring pass-through shape into a bunch of different cool things. So we are going to show our front plane and we're going to do a sketch on the front plane. Now first you want to do a line going upwards. And I like to use the spline tool to create the overall shape of it. So we're going to use the spline tool, and let's just say we want it to go like this, 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 and this. Now this is very interchangeable. You could change this a lot depending on just how you want this to look, but I think this looks good for now. And now what we want to do is we want to create a box surrounding it. So let's create that box now. Boom. Now we're going to choose the revolve tool. And it says, oh, I guess that's the next step. The next step says to use the revolve tool. And you want to choose solid and remove. So we're going to choose that now. So we're on the revolve tool. Make sure it's on solid. And change it to remove. And we're going to select this, and our revolve axis is going to be this middle line here. Perfect. And as you can see, it almost magically creates the shape we're looking for. And we can go ahead and click check. And we can also hide our planes using P on the keyboard, or just hiding them on this little side panel here. So now we successfully have created what it looks like in step 8. So moving on to step 9, it says to duplicate the part studio. So to duplicate the part studio, you just come down here, right click, and click on duplicate. And you can come into this duplicated document, and it's going to say to edit your first sketch. So to edit your first sketch, it says to offset that whole thing by what looks like is 0.02 inches. So we're going to head to this first sketch, and we're going to use our offset tool and offset all of this. You want to make sure you click on them all individually. Now at this step, some people have issues. It'll come up with a big red error, and that just basically means that your parts aren't intersecting. So that could be an issue with your initial sketch, meaning that it doesn't intersect here, or it could be an issue with them not intersecting up here. But it should work something like this. So we want to dimension this to be 0.02, and we can go ahead and click on check. So now we just want to go through step 11 says to change the inner sketch face, change the face for the inner sketch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our sweep, and instead of selecting this outside bit, we are going to click on X, and we're going to choose this inside. We want to make sure it's the inside one. So you got the outside and then the inside. That's just going to basically allow for clearances on your thing. So we're going to check. And now, if you did it all right, it should automatically revolve. This revolve should automatically work. And now you have your two parts. So let's just make sure we did everything correctly. So I'm actually going to color this part to be edit appearance. Let's make this one red. Now I'm going to insert both of these to my assembly. And this looks pretty cool. And highlighting it and clicking on check interfaces will tell us if the parts are intersecting at all. And as you can see, nothing pops up, meaning everything went correctly. But say if I move this up a little bit and now they're clearly intersecting, and I click on, click on check interfaces, you will see that it'll pop up red where it's intersecting. So it should look like no interferences, which is all good. Now you can easily export these parts as STLs and print them out and post them on MakerWorld if you want. So this mouse pad is pretty cool. I've created a bunch of them in a bunch of different sizes. Like, let me quickly show you. I created this one, and it's basically for the basics of Onshape. So I've made a series where I go through all of these tools and explain them on their own. Yeah, it's pretty helpful. And then I also created this mouse pad, which just basically goes over the basics of 3D printing, the different types of filament, their best use cases, a short quick references for different measurement lengths, and a bunch of other stuff that can be helpful for beginners to 3D printing or people who like 3D printing and just want something cool to put on their desk. But yeah, this tutorial was for this mouse pad. Even if you don't want to know how to make a pass-through fidget, it still could be pretty cool to have. So check it out in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.